great to see you again.
Great to see you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
So, is it my understanding that we're in the house? This is like ground zero here.
So we call it the old building. Yeah, this is probably where it started. At least the story of Manthey here at Moispot. So the company was founded in 1996 at Olaf's place, more or less. You know, working in a small hall, preparing cars. And then in 2000 he moved here. So we will see the old workshop, and this was probably the office, and Olaf was also living up here.
Okay, wow.
It was a kind of cooperation because another company he was familiar with, because the owner was one of his drivers. They had a kind of machining company, so the other hall where we will go was that building or that company, which Olaf took over later on. Brilliant. But basically, that's ground zero here.
Brilliant. I love it. It's like a real garage story success, because like most people seem to live above their garage before they blow up. You know?
Yeah, and
it's really cool.
It's still even today, you know.
Yes.
I told quite often that people, you know, they come to Manthey, somewhere they knew the name.
Yes.
And then it's like 24 hours and Olaf, something like this. And then, you know, they show up with their either street car or race cars, and like, I didn't expect that. So they think like there is a small garage with a lift and two mechanics, and it's slightly bigger, but you will see.
This is the junction where we can go left or right. I reckon these guys, I want to go and see that room first.
Yeah, we can do.
Let's do it, man.
Let's go.
Okay, so, I mean, obviously I know you're literally on the Nürburgring here, but is there any particular reason that you're still here?
I mean, you know, like Olaf, when he decided to like enlarge his company and where to go. I mean, he was already driving at the Nürburgring, and he always saw, when he just passed on the main road, there was a industrial area, but there were no buildings. And so he talked with his wife, and they said, well, if you have a motorsport company, where is it better to be located directly at the track? And this is where, listen, I mean, my office is like 200 meters from
You can hear the cars going around.
Yeah, definitely.
So special.
Yeah.
Speaking of cars, do you ever get bored of this? I mean, I know you see it day in, day out, but this is unbelievable, this place.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's even more unbelievable if you think, I mean, now, you know, you see guys are walking around, colleagues, servicing cars, but imagine this workshop here, when Olaf moved in, it was him, his wife, 2 race cars, and some freelance mechanics or whatever. So it was like, he told me, like, when he was standing in here, the first day he was like, this has to work out.
This place? What sort of employee count are you at now?
We're at the moment roughly with permanent guys like 270.
Wow. And that all started here, 1996.
Here, particularly 2000, March.
2000.
Olaf moved in here.
Unbelievable success, really. And lately it's just J-curve, doesn't it? It's just grown so fast.
Now if you see the last 10 years, I mean, it was like rocket.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, through the merge and through Porsche getting into the business and partnership, but I mean, still, you know, you still have to do it.
Absolutely.
I mean, you know, if somebody says, well, you know, Porsche is on board, I mean, if you tell him Porsche will do, just start, I mean, it's not that easy.
Yeah, no, I bet. So what is the hall that we're stood in now? I'm seeing a lot of track experience cars. Is that so every track experience car comes here to get serviced?
So basically, at the beginning, Olaf was of course doing his own cars. You know, he had some Super Cup team, and then he of course had his own cars, but a lot of customer cars. And customer racing was quite popular at Olaf, and there were really long-term partners, customers, and cars were running there. And even if you see in the former years, you know, with that takeover from Porsche and then the WEC program and stuff, there was not so much capacity to do those customer cars still. You know, there was the offer or the cooperation with Porsche regarding, first of all, the racing experience, where we just had those cup cars and stuff and did different levels.
Yeah.
And now, I mean, since last year, we took over the track experience, and we're doing it fully. So we always call it colored cars are running in circles,
right?
But this is just the pinnacle you see. But all the other stuff around, you know, you will see also in the former WC program, and it's quite a lot of logistics, events.
Sure. We recently just came off the back of your Spa day, your track experience day, and I honestly, other than maybe like an owners club, I've never seen so many GT and Cup cars in one place.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. So you service them all, and logistically you take them all over Europe doing these experiences.
You know, when you have any driving program, no matter which manufacturer, there are different ones. But for example, at Porsche, it was always, you know, you had all kinds of driving dynamics, G-force training, master, whatever.
Yes.
But once you wanted to step into a race car, there was no possibility.
Right.
So customers or people who were interested, they went to race teams, experts, independents, whatever. But there were still a lot of customers who said, I want to do this, but I want to do it either with Porsche or with Manthey, you know, in a professional environment, not talking about bad of anybody else.
Sure.
But, you know, I experienced myself. You go on a track day.
Yeah.
There is a guy showing up in a 918 Spider.
Yes.
And he rented a race car, and he has to dress in the pits,
Sure.
in the windy stuff.
Yeah,
with
yeah.
His, you know, they just wanted to have the whole package. Said, okay, I'll pay. I get not only a perfect car,
Top
but also a
experience.
perfect environment.
Yeah, one of the things I really thought was awesome was every time I pulled in, that there was a team member from Manthey straight on the car, asking if everything was okay, pressures, discussing setup, and then there was driver trainers and pro drivers on hand. One of my favorite things was stepping out of the Cup car, taking the SD card out straight away into the laptop, debrief with the pro. The invaluable feedback that I got from that was so cool, man.
I always, you know, when I talk to customers and because now, you know, of course we have that inquiries, I want to buy a race car, and then I go racing. I
Right.
said, do you have a trailer? No. You have a towing truck? No. You have a mechanic? And they said, no. I said, you know, this is an open pocket where you never know where you end up.
Oh man, it's a black hole for cash.
Yeah, and for me, in my opinion, I always tell them a race suit shouldn't have black knees, and the race gloves shouldn't be dirty from inside, which means
Yes.
you are working on your car when you're driving,
Sure.
because this is not working. You
Yes.
know, if you have to refill your own, and you know, people run into problems on a track day if there is no fuel station, like on the Nordschleife. You have to have cans because you're not allowed to drive with a race car to the fuel station.
Sure, of
And
course.
here, it's like there's a price, you pay,
Yeah.
and that's it. Everything is in.
It is, it's like turn up and go. It is awesome. Run me through a little bit then about what happens in here.
Meanwhile, it's 100% Porsche track experience.
Okay.
So, you know, we have, of course, the mechanics, the cars, the technicians, the engineers, the event guys, all of them are here. And we take care about this because this is basically one of the biggest halls, you know. And it's like, end of the day, we're still taking care about customers like
Sure.
Olaf did 15 years ago.
Yeah. Only you're now looking after over 100 cars. In your fleet, is it over
Yeah.
100? It's wild.
Yeah.
I mean, to contextualize that, you have over 100 GT product that you're taking care of, and often they're always out on the road somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, we're doing the whole tour.
Touch on all of these up here. Are these signals of winning here?
Yeah, this is all the ones Olaf got.
So these are almost original older school ones.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, it's always, you know, impressive when customers are coming in and, you know,
Sure.
they see what... I mean, there are videos from like 20 years ago when Olaf was here introducing the 996 GT3 RS with suspension and
Amazing.
engine and gearbox and, you know, still
just
what we do
special
today.
journey, right? Yeah. Do you think Manthey's success in racing has played a big part in why you're now merged with Porsche?
You know, Olaf started here and it was quite successful. And, you know, he was winning 24 races multiple times and stuff. There were those other two young guys, brothers, Nicky
Yes.
and Martin Reda, who also ran a race team. They were not focused on one brand, but they did different ones, like they did Mitsubishis, Hondas, Lamborghinis, whatever. They also successfully completed different seasons here at the Nordschleife. They had a cooperation with Audi, developed a TTRS factory car, which was quite successful.
yeah.
And they were always well known for, you know, suspension, axle kinematics, aerodynamics. And in 2011, at the 6-hour race at the Nürburgring, they won the race ahead of like 20 GT3 cars. And so it was quite, you know, it was a
pretty big deal.
2.5 liter front wheel driven TTRS, which was quite...
Beating GT3 cars?
Yeah.
Dude, that's
In
unheard
front of. They qualified first and won the race.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So that caught attention early on.
Yeah.
Sure.
And before, they were already always competing a little bit against Olaf. You know, they had a Ford GT where they were racing with. And when they won the race, Olaf went over to them at
Yes.
the pit wall and said, "Congrats, well done,
Yes.
good achievement." And they went home, talked to their parents. "Oh, we won the race ahead of all the others." And you know what? Olaf was at our place and said, "Congratulations." So they were, of course, super proud. And
Sure.
so their mother
Yes.
sent a letter to Olaf saying, "Thank you for honoring my boys. They are really proud of and stuff." And then Olaf replied, told her the story about their son and stuff.
Right. Wow.
And Olaf said, "I think your boys probably have the same
Mindset, yeah.
And so they started talking, and end of the day, Olaf offered them to take over his company.
Wow.
And so they were thinking about, and then Red Motorsport and Manthey merged, and they were looking for a strong partner in addition.
Yes.
And so they offered this to Porsche, and Porsche took it, and
Now,
since
here you are.
2013 we're 51% Porsche owned,
Yes.
40% the two brothers, and
Incredible.
Olaf still has 9. Yeah. And we were always a racing team, racing, so it was always important winning up there,
Yeah.
you know. And then of course, you know, you had some projects taking over, like the WC program and stuff. And then I joined Manthey in 2015. I personally always say it was the year or the date where it turned from a race team into a serious company, if you
Right.
say that.
Yeah.
Because one of the biggest projects at that time was we took over the project GT4 Club Sport.
Oh, wow.
So the
Okay.
cars were produced at Porsche,
Yes.
but they came to us for the final inspection, final
Amazing.
approval, and we handed them out to the customers, which then was substituted by the Cup car afterwards, and now with the new GT4. So this was when it also grew,
Yes.
because it was serious automotive business. You know?
Wow. In a minute, we'll see some more of that because you have a lot of those cars coming. I mean, it's unbelievable, actually.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah, honestly, this experience was very, very special. Like driving them separately, obviously great, but on the same day was very interesting. I think the biggest thing with this was obviously it was on slicks, which was a big difference, but it made this feel so impressive. The stability on the braking as well is phenomenal.
We have several customers running those cars only on track days,
Right.
and they have those seats in.
Okay.
It's a
It's
totally
a totally different
car.
experience. That's
I mean,
really
it's
interesting.
the same like you run a 3-point harness or
Sure,
6-point
totally.
harness.
Yeah, it's a different thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
A totally different feel. This is PDK and this is a sequential,
Sequential.
right? And is that for weight saving?
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Mainly.
Weight saving, mate.
Mainly.
Yeah. And how
If
many
you-
hours would you say?
60 hours.
Okay, so 60 hours of track use,
Yeah.
track time, and then you have to recondition it.
Yeah.
And it's
But
a
the-
25 grand rebuild-ish.
Roughly.
One thing I've seen since I've been out here is the amount of really shiny, posh race transporters you've got everywhere.
Yeah.
There's something about it excites me every time I see it.
Yeah, I mean,
Cool.
the thing is that most of them or several of them look the same.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I talked with my colleagues and said last year, how many trailers do we have? And they were like, we have 21.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
You have
maybe-
21 of these?
Yeah. And the even cooler topic is we don't even have space for 21. So we always try to get them on the road.
So, for example, in this one, there's space for cars in the back, and then is there like a sort of office space?
Now this
here?
is in general a complete office.
Right. Oh, that's cool. You got a traveling office
Yeah,
trailer.
and then you will see another one up there where
Uh-huh.
you know then the DTM engineers are in and stuff. So yeah.
Very, very trick. When we got to Spa, there was no exaggeration, 100 GT cars there.
Yeah.
Do you get those there on these? I mean, okay, Spa might be a bad example because it's like an hour away.
They're
No?
all on trailers.
They're all on trailers.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah.
The logistics of that's massive.
Yeah.
All right. Parts room. So this isn't technically like an e-commerce facing side of the parts, is it?
Yeah, without the E. Yeah.
With just the commerce part. So is this internal and external?
So the thing was, you know, when the two companies merged and there were some different departments already. So you had stock department here, stock department here, warehouse there. And it was, you always were looking for a part and it was at the other place.
Right.
So what we did is we said, okay, let's make one central stock department
Okay.
where all parts are. When we now, for example, we confirm an order, and then we always can type in which department, and then the guys here deliver it to the different departments. Also, Olaf had a warehouse because, you know, you service cars and stuff, whatever.
Sure.
But I mean, if you now see, of course, you have brake pads and
Yep.
you have wheels, but you see, you also have like pressurized bottles. The thing was, when we started in 2015, 2016 with that Cayman topic,
Yes. Yeah.
I was the guy who handed them out to the customers.
Okay.
And then, you know, especially with the Cayman, it was most often the first race car for a customer. So customers showed up, said, I like the car. What's that? Yeah, that's a valve. For what is the valve? It's for the air check system. How do I operate it? Yeah, you have a pressurized bottle, you have a lens, you put it on, car lifts. Where do I get the bottle?
So just over time, it became,
Yeah.
you built
So,
a picture
but
what people need.
In general, you buy a bottle, like for a scuba diving.
Yeah.
But then you need a trolley. And you
Okay.
need a holder for the lens. So we designed that.
Okay, wow.
And we were thinking, I mean, who is buying those trolleys from us?
For sure.
It turned out race teams
Unbelievable.
bought it from us because they said the trolley is perfect, the holder is perfect, everything is perfect.
Yeah.
So this was the first thing. Then second,
Wow.
customers showed up, said, I like the car, but there is only one seat. Yeah, it's a
Okay.
race car, there's one seat. Yeah, I want to take my son,
Yeah, friends
brother,
out or
wife,
something.
whatever.
Yeah.
I need a second seat. So there
That's
are the
why you
seats.
got lots of seats up
you know?
there.
So it was not like active from us.
It just
But it was
evolved
like a
this way
reaction,
through client
and
feedback.
this is what I wanted to say with that. You know, it turned into a serious company because suddenly we had a warehouse, we had a range of products.
Yes.
We called it at that time our equipment
Okay.
because it was racing equipment. You know, like not T-equipment, but our
see,
equipment.
wow.
Then with the Cayman, we were thinking about. I mean, the Cayman is the perfect GT4 car. So
Sure.
GT4 category in racing.
Yes.
So we said, okay, let's do a kit for the car to homologate, and then let's go racing. And then we did, and now you can see, you know, all the bodywork parts. Now this is a 718
So-
GT4 Club Sport MR.
Manthey is effectively responsible for the development of that car ending up as a homologated racing car.
Yeah.
You do it all in-house.
Yeah.
That's wild, man.
I mean,
Super
of
cool.
course, it's always a cooperation with Porsche. you
Sure,
know, but
yeah.
for us, it's because we're coming from that topic.
Yes.
You know, and honestly, I think we released the car 2016, 24-hour race of Spa. We presented the car,
Yeah.
and until then, GT4 was a
A smaller series,
grassroots
right?
series.
Yes, totally.
And I think personally that a GT4 is a GT4 category car. And then other manufacturers showed up with the big ones,
Yes.
fitting them into the GT4 series. And then, you know, the problem was that then Porsche was always the baseline, but it was the idea of GT4, you know, a price effective
course.
race series.
And that class now is huge.
Yeah. And
Massive.
here, you know, this was then another step forward for Porsche because in the 981 series, we used carbon fiber parts. Now this is natural fiber.
So this is like an eco composite sort of
like
fiber.
hemp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like hemp carbon.
Yeah. yeah.
This is the petrol head's ultimate warehouse. Everything I look at is like,
I mean,
I want one of those.
this is, we were just talking about it a few days ago. I said probably the unique detail of Manthey is that we are a race team, we are an engineering company, and we are selling stuff.
And really, by the sounds of things, the majority of these parts have genuinely evolved naturally due to actual demand.
Yeah.
Not you creating, oh, let's sell this stuff. It's like, it's calls going, we need to make this.
We did WEC,
Yes.
and we needed a drinking system for the drivers. So
Okay.
we developed a drinking system, which is now used in all kinds of brands, you know.
Really?
And
Wow.
here, this is, as I told you before, that partner of Olaf, who was basically running this. Olaf took over his business. And this is now our department where we are not doing like huge numbers, but we are doing small series. Those are the raw parts for
beautiful.
our alignment system.
That is beautiful.
You know?
So you have a proprietary, like your own Manthey spec alignment system,
Yeah.
right? That you can only get through you.
Yeah.
And one of your roles at the minute, you're traveling around the world, right? And unless an OPC, an official Porsche center, is equipped with your official alignment system, they are not a Manthey certified, right?
This is mandatory for getting Manthey certified in terms of Manthey performance kits for street cars.
Sure.
When you order such a kit, of course you get the parts, get the installation manual, but you also get a setup manual where we tell you you have to adjust this and this and this and this,
right.
and all relies on that system. And this system we are using in-house for all street and race cars, from the GT4 street car to the RSR Le Mans car.
Seriously?
So every mechanic here can do an alignment on a car because we're always using the same system.
How cool is that?
And if somebody we had the issue in Australia, somebody was calling because we're doing also tech support, and we just tell him, fill out the setup sheet, send it to us.
Yes.
Our engineers take a look at it, and they know exactly what you're talking about.
Brilliant.
This is more or less the PVIS of Manthey. You know, it's always the same tool, and you just can get information out of it.
You know, this is such the heart of Manthey that you'd be forgiven for people wanting to come here because they get the best setup. But it's really nice to know that you're going to get the same setup no matter where in the world you go for an official Manthey kit because of this sort of...
Yeah, and this is, you know, when people are calling us now, customers call us and say, I want to get my GT2 RS or GT3 converted. Can I come to you?
Right.
We said, of course you come, but you have to do the custom papers, the carnet, the huge effort.
Yes.
But I said, if you go to your Porsche dealership and you ask for that, and the dealership is certified, I said, they were here to train, and they have the same system. And here, another detail, more what we are doing here. If you're running a GT3 car anywhere in the world, and it's a Porsche, so GT3R, all those cars have to follow BOP regulations. So BOP in general is weight, air restrictor, maybe ride height. And all air restrictors worldwide in any race car are produced here.
No way.
So if you if you are a US team running in Daytona and you have to run a certain restrictor,
it comes from here.
So those are, for example, the measurement tables of the alignment system.
Brilliant.
And they also produced by us. So we have in the alignment system, I would say the own produced parts are like 95%. So even the cases for the lasers, everything is done here.
It's amazing how much you guys do in-house. You know?
Yeah,
it's kind of one of the reasons I wanted to take these guys along for this journey, because from the outside you're like Manthey, racing, body kits.
Yeah.
So much more, more involvement here.
Yeah, but the base was always we wanted to have something, and it wasn't there on the market. Like we are producing heating tents. I mean, there are so many heating tents out there, but our engineers said, if you, for example, this is the tent, if you blow the hot air from here, this tire is hotter than this tire.
Sure.
So we have to blow from centric.
Yes.
So what our heating tent basically is, we have a chimney, more or less, which goes inside, and we heat up the tires from inside
out.
So we heat the rims, which heat up the tires. But then you need tire skates, which are not made of wood, like you see, because then it's barbecue, you know? They are out of metal, and they have a hole inside, so the hot air can go.
We've seen these tire skates. I was like, I just looked at them and thought, they're really fancy, but I just thought it was because it was Manthey. But no, there has an engineering reason why you have these thermally optimized skates for hot tires.
Yeah. So here is, as I said, Forma factory racing, so WEC. You see here, for example, there are some WEC trophies. And it's always, you know, when people are coming in here.
So you guys are racing all over the world?
Yeah, and I mean, this is it, you know? So this is Spa 6 hours. That's the one we won.
Dude, you've got some serious cups here.
I mean, you
no
know,
joke.
For sure, some other guys at home have those pictures.
Yes.
But probably they don't have it with the signature of the drivers.
No.
You know, and you always have here the signature of the driver.
Just amazing.
So,
I mean, this has got to be one of the most iconic GT cars, right? Or should I say iconic liveries?
I mean, the story of the color was that in former times, Olaf also did green and yellow cars. You know, when we took over the program from Porsche, partly factory, whatever, we were always racing in PIP design, Porsche Intelligence Performance. The older guys, they said, we should do a green and yellow car again. Olaf said, well,
Sure. This is the historical color.
I have to lose something.
Sure, yes.
And then I remember it was wrapped and it was the first race. Then we wanted to do a Facebook post. So we had a picture with the car like coming into the pits. And it was like, which slogan are we using? We're gonna take Back to the Future. And we did it, and we won the first race with the car, with the new livery. So Olaf was happy.
Man, it's so good.
We were happy, everything was great.
Wow,
and from there on, it was, it was Grello, it was green and yellow.
Yes.
And there is only a Grello, there is no Greeno or whatever.
No, it's just Grello.
A Grello.
Oh man. Do you know what's quite amazing is one of the things that I'm really glad we're capturing is the scale of the logistics. If you walked in here blindfolded, I'd say we're in the warehouse of a Metallica and you're about to go on tour. That's what it looks like.
What I always say, the car in general, it's impressive, and the racing, but everything which happens behind is even more impressive, because this one here with all the cases and stuff, this was WEC, as WEC was Intercontinental. I mean, you were racing in Fuji and then you swapped over to Bahrain, but you weren't at home to service the car.
Sure.
So you have to take everything with you.
So this room travels?
Yeah, here you can see, like here, this simulates a container.
Oh, so this is the floor of a truck? Here. More or less, and you do a simulation of how you're going to stack the truck to see if it fits.
There is so much, what you need and what you can't buy, and therefore you want to,
you need to have.
Yeah, and this is, and
Dude,
it's like
mad.
When people are here, it's like always, we are there. Like you saw, Janine was just passing. She carried the helmet of Thomas Breining.
Yeah.
He's our DTM drivers.
I really like sharing this stuff because it really contextualizes the team and race team. I mean, the amount of effort to get this halfway around the world, set it up. Right, so on average then, how many teams are there on a grid?
Well, at DTM this year there are 28 cars.
They're turning up similar to that?
Depending on if everybody's turning up like we're, because we're always a little bit on the bigger side in terms of equipment and stuff, but basically,
And then in the likes of NLS format, then you're intermixed with other smaller teams.
Yeah. I mean, and this is the cool thing at NLS. So you can enter any garage and just say hi. And there is the E36 team next to the Manthey team.
Amazing.
And, I remember like back in the days, there was a quite challenge in terms of Clio Cup cars.
Yes.
And there was one team which was fighting about the championship. And they crashed the car, I think, in qualifying or whatever. And then, guys, mechanics from the factory team were helping the small team to get the car ready.
So cool.
It's
nice.
rest.
It's very cool. Yeah. So everything we've seen up until this point, obviously incredible. Something tells me this is a special room.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably a workshop. We don't have lifts. Reason for this is quite easy. The guys don't have lifts on the track, so they don't work on lifts here because they want to optimize their workflow.
Interesting.
And so if they don't have a lift on the track, it doesn't make sense to work on a lift at home.
So this is the kit that you were just explaining. So this kit here, this is an alignment kit that you have designed and engineered in-house, and the same kit that clearly is on a GT3R will also align a customer looking to do a Manthey kit on a 3RS.
Or even if you come with your 1968 911.
And you guys train everyone around the world on how to use this exact kit.
The procedure of setting up a car in terms of camber, tow, ride height, whatever, is still the same. So if you want to adjust tow, you have to turn the tow rod. But this gives you the rawest information in order to support you in doing it. So just easy. If this is a GT3 RS and you have a 21-inch wheel on the rear with 225 or 235, and you have to go to the tow rod, I mean, it's like, tarts on.
Yes.
And here, the wheel is off.
Right.
Then the car will stand on ball bearings, so you have no friction. So because people who were never with us, they like, I have like old tires, I need new tires. I don't care because we take the tires off anyway, you know? And then you have the corner weight scales already in the tables. They are remotely connected with the tablet where you see that. Then, for example, the toe, I mean, we have a laser here, the laser, and it shows you on the front scale where the laser is pointing to. And here, you see, here is the scale, Nachspur, this is German for toe out.
Okay.
And this is toe in, because if the wheel in the back end is like this, the laser points towards inside, it's toe in.
Oh, very cool.
And if it's like this, it's toe out. And it's so easy, you know? And when you talk to like a young mechanic sometimes, and he like, you know, toe, I have the green and the red light, and I turn, and when it's green, it's good. But here you can see it. It's simply raw information.
Very cool. We can't be in front of this car and not discuss a little bit about this. Can you give us an overview of what this particular GT3 R is?
That's one of our DTM cars for this season. We have two cars with the drivers Dennis Olsen and Thomas Breining. From today, in 2 weeks, there is the first race.
Dude, it is so intense in there. So it's 4.2 litre. Is this to effectively up the horsepower for DTM?
Horsepower is not that much, but of course, you know, torque and from low revs onwards and stuff. But I mean, we're still the smallest engine.
Right,
I mean, if you see
absolutely.
all the others, it's either V10, V8 turbo, V6, six-cylinder turbo. You know, the GT3 RS customers still love that they have an NA engine.
Absolutely,
Not like anything turbocharged.
What a piece of kit, man.
As you see here, for example, you again see all our own developed parts. Like here, that's a bodywork rack, more or less.
So this is a travel rack, is it? And you have custom made this for the componentry. So all these brackets and points and everything is designed to transport it.
You have also like up there, you have doors even and stuff. Because if you take those parts and just put them into the trailer, it's like they never will arrive like they leave. And of course you need more storage, all that. But I mean, you have to build that. You know, we were talking about that 24-hour race one time. What we always do is when we have to change brakes in an endurance race, we have quick connectors. And we change the caliper, the brake disc, and the pad in one piece.
It's like a dry brake system, is it? And it just snap on, snap off.
If you don't want to invest that second set of calipers, quick connector stuff, it's cheaper. On a cup car, you switch brakes in 5 minutes in the race. I mean, we switch it in 30 seconds.
And the whole unit. It's just unbelievable.
You need a proper driver to catch in again 4.5 minutes.
Big time. When you change these brakes, what do you remove to take the whole thing off?
There are also quick connectors for the calipers, so the studs. And then you more or less, you take the caliper, the pad, the disc, and a part of the brake line and take all off.
In one unit. And then someone comes in with the next unit and just quick clip on and gone.
You know, we have our old front bonnets from Le Mans 2018. Because just as a reference, those two cars winning 1 and 2, those were our cars. It was Porsche Team Manthey, you know.
So the attention to detail in here is such that you have elastic bands attached to the harness points, so that when somebody gets out, it automatically takes them out of the way of the seat. So when the next guy gets in, he doesn't have to fiddle with the belts. It's just go. Every car with harnesses needs that.
I can show you even another detail. Here. So this is, for example, fast refuel of oil. But what is interesting here, this is radio. This is drinking. And we have a combined plug where you only have to remove once.
So you're just finding tents everywhere, aren't you?
Also, a lot of people don't know is when you found a race team and you say, I want to do Carrera Cup, Great Britain, whatever, but I don't have mechanics, or I don't have a truck driver, or I don't have an engineer. You can rent everything at us. An event manager, a technician, engineer, a data engineer, whatever.
So you basically have a race team consultancy as well, effectively, right? And you can insert consultants, aka engineers and team principals, into race teams to make them function.
If you count like the championship wins or whatever in the last 3 years and like 24-hour wins and stuff, there is quite often Manthey in the box, but it's not written on it. We're servicing that and helping the guys. You know, end of the day, Porsche wins, period. So first of all, the topic itself, we did a pit stop training, and the pit stop training, same like in WEC, we film it.
Yes.
Because then afterwards you do an analyze. One of our mechanics who was in it, he had 157 files. Guys from Manthey, either technicians, mechanics, engineers, logistics, truck driver, whatever, you can hire them at us or rent them. And so we're supplying different teams with our stuff in order to help them and assist them in terms of, so you have the same faces in different team wear.
Brilliant. So the room we're in now then, this is the R&D room.
Yeah, that's probably the most sensible one. R&D at Manthey means we are developing. Let's say there is a new car, like a 992 GT3 or now the RS. Putting a kit together doesn't mean, hey, let's call KW if they have a suspension. Let's call BBS if they have wheels. We sit together, we make a list what we want to achieve, and then we start. Like on the 992 GT3, we wanted to have four-way shocks front and rear. They were not existing, so together with KW, we designed a strut housing.
Wow.
So it's not taking the best parts from the manufacturers, bringing the manufacturers to the point where they produce the parts we require. This, in my opinion, is not possible for anybody else to do, because from a budget side, from a knowledge side, our red GT2 RS, having the car with 55k on it.
Yes.
The first car we had like 85k on it. So, you know, we're simply going to drive. And
so these are all development kilometers.
Yeah.
That's some serious mileage, man.
You know, at the end of the day, if you want to have it approved at the same way Porsche is doing that,
sure, you have to do that.
You have to do that.
Wow.
You know, there are some references, like for example, for suspension, you have to go to Oschersleben because that's the official reference, Porsche and Audi and stuff. But I mean, it's development.
Yeah.
And it takes time. I mean, now, you know, people showing up and say, oh, what about the kit for the 992 GT3 RS?
Yeah.
So it will be released 2024.
Yes.
Because end of the day, we always do industrial pool testing.
Yes.
This doesn't happen from November till March. So you always lose
gap there.
Straight away 5 months. Like this year, you know, this is where we were talking about before, GT4 Cup Sport. You know, we had engineers from us.
I mean, what's quite amazing is you might notice that the angle we're at on this camera is locked off because there are literally 1, 2, 3 cars that we can't show you right now, which is, so thank you for letting us in here. But
probably in 2 years.
It'll all be unfolding soon. Yeah, some of these in a few years' time. Feel free to speculate in the comments. It'll be interesting to see what people think is over there. But yeah, this room, needless to say, is incredibly exciting. So thanks for letting us in.
I mean, basically in the car finalization department, we, as I said, 2015, we got the offer, the project from Porsche to finalize the GT4 Club Sport, which means the car was produced at Porsche, and at a certain stage the car came to us, and then we had to do, you know, a total check over, final approval, so driving it on track, functional test, and then hand it out to the customer. The first cars, for example, they had no air check system or they had no fire extinguisher system. So we developed this, and if a customer wanted to buy that, then we installed it here. And then of course, after the different charges, it was done. And then the next project was the Cup car. And then, you know, when the first Cup cars rolled up here, at a certain point we had like a 3-digit quantity of cars here. Wow. Was all over the place with Cup cars and Caymans and stuff. And then it gets challenging, yeah. But I mean, you know, you have the handling from the race team, and you know, you structured yourself like in a race and what to do and which steps, and you always optimized it. And this is where I said it got serious, because you know, you get Excel list, They tell you, we produce X cars per week. We deliver the cars on Friday.
They're coming here.
They simply come.
Just arrive.
And maybe if a customer didn't pick up his ones,
Yes.
they still come.
Just keep coming.
So it was. And then in the very beginning, we had a smaller workshop in the new building where the street department is. We had like 6 lifts. I mean, it was like all the way in the morning out, in the evening in, or we had some covers and it was. And then, you know, we got that new hall, and then things were getting better. People say, there are so many cars in your premises, I want to buy one. We don't sell cars.
Sure.
Yeah, Porsche sells the car, and once they sold it to you, they will give you a date and you come to Manthey and pick it up. But we can't
Retail cars.
Yeah. And that's good for us.
Sure.
Because, you know,
Yeah, absolutely.
that's probably...
You can focus on the niche of the niche.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you have some derivatives, like then we did the Club Sport 25. And then, of course, you learn from your other projects and,
Sure.
you know, but of course it was first of all, what Manthey or Olaf always said, we don't put anything on the car which doesn't make the car faster. It has to perform.
Sure.
And therefore, we were out testing with the Evo quite a lot and, you know, wanting to make that even a step forward. And then this is what we, of course, can do here.
So, am I right in thinking that every GT3 Cup car that's made comes to Manthey first, you give it the setup, and then it goes to the client?
Yeah.
All over the world.
Yeah.
So you calibrate every GT3 Cup car.
Yeah.
That's a serious undertaking, man. It's serious.
Every week we have rented the GP track or part of the GT track. The guys drive there because we have a special license to be allowed to drive the cars with the lead car and another car with yellow lights just for that. No customer cars, nothing, just those ones.
And that shakedown process every week.
Yeah.
Cup cars.
There's always then a production slot, then it stops, and then there is another production slot, and then the cars go.
You guys are busy. And so these are the cars which had the success to then lead on to what eventually became this.
It was quite interesting because, for example, this was one of the very first cars, and then, you know, they did the Mitsubishi, and for the Mitsubishi, the thing was that they built the car, and Mitsubishi with Rally Art built also a car. Then they wanted to have an Evo 8, and then Rally Art said, okay, we have a kit car which is like huge. And then they say, okay, we take the Evo 7. And then they drove this at NLS.
Right.
And were faster than the Rally Art car.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so this was a small topic.
So cool.
And this one here was fully built by Reda. And it's like, you know, it looks like a Gallardo, but the suspension is different, the engine, the gearbox, also the chassis, everything was done in cooperation with Hegemon. And you can see also drivers were Dirk Audorf and Hermann Tilke. So those were the beginnings. And now we are in a building which is Reda Motorsport, because Reda Motorsport, before the merge, they were also quite well known for upgrading street cars for track days and tourists. And then, you know, with the merge and stuff, but Reda Motorsport is not existing as a company anymore, but as a brand.
Okay.
Because any cars which are non-Porsche,
Yes.
and we modify them,
Okay.
they are modified under the brand Reda Motorsport. The
Very
problem was that there is a small sign on the main building.
Yes.
But, you know, people simply were scared
Yes.
to show up at Manthey
Sure,
with a
with a
Renault, a
non-Porsche
BMW,
product.
whatever.
Sure.
And so now we said we're going to separate the brand and have our own department and team
really cool.
for non-Porsche cars, because
Brilliant.
you know, you can come to us with any car,
Yeah.
no matter whether it's a Peugeot 106 or an RSR, doesn't matter. So we have some Manthey classics, you know, This will be a restoration, more or less, of a 964.
So you'll have people bring pretty much anything to you and ask for a specific setup on a car?
It was quite interesting because when we did a 488 Pista, you know, we just did a setup on it.
Yeah.
And he said it improved the car quite a lot.
I can imagine.
Then
yeah.
people were calling us like, "Oh, are you doing Ferrari as well?"
Yes.
Of course.
Come
Bring
with
anything you have. Now that's those typical, you know, track day cars.
Sure.
Where they customers require setup, suspension, so anything which increases the performance. We're in for.
So of course you're also an OPC, right?
Yeah.
As well. So you can bring your Porsche here
we are
to be
a service center.
Yes.
Which means we are a standard Porsche center, but we don't sell cars.
Right. So you service but don't sell.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the most important topic.
Sure.
Here, you know, this is Manthey Street. So this means we have, again, you see our alignment systems.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Here we are doing street cars, all kinds of conversions from Manthey performance kits, just suspension, wheels. So this happens here. You can see here the alignment on the street car.
Brilliant.
Again, we have the same system like on the GT3 RS, which you saw. Here you can also see the laser because it's not so sensible than on the GT3 RS. You know, I mean, here you see this is one of the shelves where we, as I said, when from the stock department parts are coming up here.
Okay,
so this is for the single customers.
And right now we're on the dawn of a new track day, and everyone's coming in for fresh rubber.
No, they're
you can see
on the opposite side.
This is the alignment lasers here, look.
Yeah.
Very trick. So these are inbuilt, and they just read off each other.
Yeah. Just to give you an idea, what we also do.
Okay.
So the customer, he wanted to have wheels for track.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wheels for street.
Right.
Wheels for track, 18-inch.
Okay.
To run slicks on.
Wow, so he's got 3 sets of wheels for different applications.
Yeah.
And that's going on this.
Yeah.
So a sequential 4.4 litre Gen 2 997
No, it's
RS.
a CAE shifter, so it's still H pattern.
Okay.
There is a GT2 RS 997 for service.
I mean, that's rare enough.
Yeah.
Well, 500 of those.
Yeah. It's GT4, Manthey,
New
GT3 RS.
That's a hell of a spec. Look at this. I love that. I love the red on white thing.
Yeah.
It looks so good. There's more RSs up there.
Yeah.
They're new GT3s as well. Sorry, GT3 RSs.
Yeah.
So that's it, man. I really appreciate it. Hopefully these guys have got some, you know, insight into Manthey. I've always wanted to sort of take people behind the scenes here because you do so much more than I think what you see at first hand. So thank you for taking us there. Also, while we've been here, Leon and your team have done some work on this, and tomorrow it's the Manthey track day, which I've always wanted to do, a Manthey specific Nürburgring day. So this is a big day, man.
I mean, basically the track day originally was made by Olaf to, you know, offer his customers and friends to drive in a small, you know, closed environment, Porsche only. And now, I mean, it's getting bigger and bigger, but it's still Porsche only. And the level is quite, so, you know, with a 991.1 GT3, it's already, it's an old car, you know.
Wild,
weird.
It is weird.
But I mean, if you see now here, you know, the new RS, the GT2, yours.
Yeah, it's good fun.
Yeah, you're right. We did some alignment on the car. We'll see tomorrow. We're pretty sure if you're not fast, it's not the car.
No pressure. Let's leave it at that. Michael, thanks so much. Really appreciate it. Comments below. If you're not following Manthey Racing, there's a link below to the website, to the Instagram. Go and check them out. These guys do some awesome stuff, and I've got a feeling we're not stopping the content here. So thanks again, buddy.
You're welcome.
Really appreciate it.